Howdy everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. Today we're going to look at graphing quadratic equations and all of the pieces that go along with it. This is going to be part one of your review for your test at the end of this week on all the graphing parabolas. We're going to walk through one of the problems from review page number one. We'll talk about all the concepts to it, and then your job will be to practice a couple of them on your own. So let's go ahead and turn on our document camera there in the background. I'll shrink me up there, and let's head over here for problem number one. So we're going to start off here with looking at this first problem. So each problem is going to work out the exact same. You're going to be given your equation, and I'm going to ask you a series of questions that go along with it. So if we're looking here at this first problem, we have y equals x squared minus 4x plus 4. And I want to know simply what a, b, and c are. Those are important pieces. So if we remember, a is in front of x squared, so that's 1. b is negative 4. And c is the number all by its lonesome, that's positive 4. Then it's going to ask you, does it open up or down? Well, if I go to a, which is in front of the x squared, that's a positive 1. So because it's positive, it opens up. Part B, the axis of symmetry. Remember, the axis of symmetry is that vertical line that's going to go right down through the middle of the vertex. Well, because it's a vertical line, it's going to be x equals, and if we recall how we find the x value of the vertex, it's opposite of b over 2a. So the equation for that vertical line, the axis of symmetry, is the same. So we're going to, on top, have negative 4 all over 2 times 1, and that's going to equal a positive 4 over 2, so that's 2. So the axis of symmetry equals, is x equals 2. So that means at 2, I'm going to have a vertical line that's going to go right down the middle. Now I need to find the vertex. Well, I know the x value of the vertex is 2 because I found that here. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug it into the equation to find the y value. So y equals 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 4 equals 4 minus 8 plus 4 or 0. So the vertex is 2, 0. Now this is going to be a unique situation. We haven't had this happen before, but the vertex falls on the x-axis. This is going to be significant for what comes up here for the x-intercepts. X-intercepts, if any. Sometimes a parabola might not have an x-intercept. The y and the x-intercepts are now two important pieces. I also have to graph it. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my table of values. I'm going to put my vertex in the middle at 2, 0, which means I'm going to go with 3 and 4 and 1 and 0. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to fill in the rest of this table, and I'm going to do that by taking each of these values and plugging them in for x squared. Well, I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator for this. So I'm going to go 1 squared minus 4 times 1 plus 4. And if I look here at that value, so you'll notice what I've got here. In fact, let's clear that out so you have a little bit less. 1 squared minus 4 times 1 plus 4. And that's going to equal 1. Let's plug in the 3. If I have symmetry, I should get the same answer. 3 squared minus 4 times 3 plus 4. 1. And let's plug in 0. 0 squared minus 4 times 0 plus 4. And then let's plug in the 4. 4 squared minus 4 times 4 plus 4. So now that I've got my table filled in, let's plot my points. So I'm going to go 1, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to go 3, 1, and 4, 4. And I have symmetry, so that's a good sign. And I'm going to graph here. Now I want you to pay close attention to this point right here in our table. I plugged in 0 for x. Well, if we recall earlier in the year, all y-intercepts are where x equals 0. So for my y-intercept, I'm going to have 4 for my y-intercept. Now then it says x-intercept if any. Now this particular graph has only one x-intercept. If you recall from yesterday's lesson where we talked about using parabolas, there were always two. And that's because the parabola would cut through the x-intercept twice. Well, this one, because the vertex is on the x-axis, there's only one x-intercept, and that x-intercept would be 2. So in review, for our review worksheet, I have to find my A, B, and C. I have to decide if it's up or down. I have to find the axis of symmetry and the vertex, and those two things work together. Once I know the vertex, I plug that into my table, I find the rest of the table, graph the parabola, and then decide what the x and the y intercepts are. Now if I come back to this idea for x-intercepts, if any, there is the possibility for 3 scenarios. Okay, I could have a normal graph, and this one's going to have 2 x-intercepts. I could have what we just did, which is the vertex is on the x-axis. Then there's 1 x-intercept. And then there is the situation which is, what if the parabola opens up and starts above the x-axis? Well, this one is going to have 0 x-intercepts. So this one's going to have 2 here and here. This one's going to have 1. And this one's going to have no x-intercept. So I'm going to say none if that's the case. So if I come back to this one here, this one had 1 x-intercept, and the x-intercept was at 2. The y-intercept was at 4. So for your homework, your job is to do problems 2, 3, see if we can flip the page here, and 4. And each one of those are going to ask you to do the same thing as this one did, which is fill in each of those clues. If you can do these problems and you can do the problems on review worksheet number 2, then you are ready to go for your test, which will be on Thursday. Have a great day.